revealing the first writer's formats in Joshua. This is part 2, and I'm going to continue where I left off, which would be 6:1. Now, this here, I don't see anything right off the bat wrong. And again, my computer is still down to show you the software that I'm using, so most likely won't be in any of these videos for Joshua. They weren't trumpets of rams, they were the horns used from rams. So, and so I'm having to use the word horns a lot and get rid of the trumpets of ram horns. Ram horns, you can listen to that sound, and it's not going to be like the ones they show you that they're a mile long when they're blowing them, but a regular ram horn, okay? Might have even been a goat's horn. Priests like this. Well, not their trumpets, but horn. I guess it's the first time here. Now, this is a note to myself that when I'm doing the text and I get like, why are these words appearing here? And kill everyone, every man straight ahead. Boy, that just reads so odd. But you'll go in and kill everyone. So what does this text mean? I'll get to that in the next one. I saved that for the next video. But the word said to command. It's not a not a covenant. A covenant is being changed to the word promises, because our Creator promises them through different prophecies of things that will happen. So it's not a covenant, it's a promise that He makes, and He makes another promise, makes a promise. So when it comes all together, it becomes our Creator's promises. And it was in the chest, they put the commandments in the chest, okay? And I needed to add this because that's what was told to them above. And I had to add this because that was told to them above. So you just can't have these verses without these words here. He's talking to the people what our Creator told them, and now He's explaining it to them. And then this is what will happen. Proceed out of your mouth. They do. This is extra gibberish put in by them. But I needed to add all these words here. So then, because that's what our Creator said would happen, so He's just repeating it. It's not like I'm completely making up words that aren't truthful and making it my own text. I'm trying to tell you what's written above needs to be added into the text. And you'll see that in the next cleanup, when this is cleaned up. Or you can check I won't have them right now, but on my website I will have the text of all these PDFs as I show you. This is, like I'm saying, it's the historical archive of why I'm doing what I'm doing and why the words are changed. And don't think you can change any of these words or you can do better than me. You just are not prepared. Walls fell and they went in and killed them. Yes, I needed to add that. And then the spies. And they burned the city with fire as YB commanded. Okay, so that happened, and then none of this needs to be said it's just extra talk with her, and no. All this right here is right here, went to Jericho, and then all the way down here, and Joshua did not fear him, and they went in battle and they beat him. All that's kind of saying the same thing. It's just double, double, double. So I got rid of it. Um, Adding the word battle, rise, go in battle with LA, their city, and you will do this. This is our creator telling them that they're going to set up an ambush. So even though they go in here and they did something up here, there's another battle before this, but this is continuing of the story of Ali or Al. I don't know how to A. That's the way I'd pronounce it, but A's. But anyways, you'll see me change a lot of these words or names or places to make them more simpler to read. Now, when it talks about numbers, these numbers aren't truthful. Even no college professor will discuss that all these numbers are truthful. They're just ridiculous. A lot of them are. And set up the ambush. This is what he's telling them to do. And then they go up to A. Again, not a king, but a leader. Not a king, but a leader. Can't be a king of a city. Okay. Well, my eyes are watering. Sorry about that. I usually take a little bit of time off between videos because I know this happens. So, but I will continue. Guess I gotta slide this over so you can see that text. Enter it. They didn't turn, but they looked back. Because it's got it turned back and looked to the format, I needed the word looked here and saw the smoke. And there are people who are fleeing to the, yes, I should have done that. For safety reasons, they ran, but they chased them and left them no survivors. Yes, these people were absolutely evil. A lot of like what you see on Earth today, where people have free sex with anything and everything and anybody. That's what they killed off. They killed them off. They are unclean people. That's how our Creator describes them. The land is unclean because the people are corrupt. Now, they battle with them and not the inhabitants. A lot of times the word inhabitants might mean races later in the text. Right now, it's the people here. They weren't, had a lot of different races here, so it was the word inhabitants is going to be the people in Gabim, Gabim, Gabim. Anyways, uh, they wore out clothes, not sacks, and patched up with sandals. They didn't just have food with them. They had our bread. They had other foods. They don't exist on bread. And you'll see me change the word bread a lot when it means food. Yeah, well, they wouldn't have used the word covenant. It's an agreement. So that's the first time I'm doing that, I believe, in this text. See here, they're using these. This is the people, what they're calling a lot of these names like this would be like a male's descendants became a large group, and then they would name them that, like you would name the tribes of Israel. They would have their own little meanings for their little group, but they're all related to Israel or Noah. I'm trying to read and scan and talk at a time, so if I go silent, it means I really had to study the text there. Not counsel, but petition. Now, the word petition means to ask our Creator for something, and the word prayer means you are talking to our Creator. So, you Christians out there that don't know the difference, now you know the difference, and you should be saying these words correctly. When you're talking, the word pray is the act that you're going to be in, whether you're kneeling, bowing your head. That is what the word pray means. The word prayer is the words that you're talking to our Creator at that time. Okay? And then people were now, yes, Joshua, yeah, you found out that they were in the land here. Maybe I've got this text too big here. Well, no, I like it bigger. I just want to make sure that when I'm using the cursor, people can see that little word a little bit better. I should have broke it into a verse when I've got these verses, I try to keep them separate, although I'm using the word but here. So that is all one, but I needed to use but they did not touch them. So, ask their leader, not their king. Although the king, I'm surprised they didn't use the word king here. And were prophesied, not just told. They prophesied. When you read it now this way, these people were still obeying our Creator. They knew the prophecies from Abraham. So, like I said, these are descendants from Noah in the land and would understand the differences of what's going on. And they had they still believe these, and that's why this group will live among them and not be killed off, because this verse tells us they were good people and they weren't as pagan as the rest of them. So that's well, I'm going to go through and I'm going to tell you about what each verse means later, just so we don't have preachers going up there and talking silly crap. I was watching the guy the other day. He said the people were vowing to each other. Well, vow is strictly only to our Creator. You can swear to one another, but the vow is strictly to our Creator. Again, use your words specifically, truthfully, exactly right. The more you do, the closer you're getting to our Creator, and the more He will teach you as well. Here, hewers of wood. This I'm changing to the word forest because they needed their land cleaned up so they can in that area. They didn't do it for the whole nation, but in this area, these people were workers and helped them dig wells, not drawers of water. They had to be the diggers of wells. Just to make them have to work for their existence to be among them and to be accepted by them, by the others that were there. Notice here, this is the title, Hebrew word for the word, or for the title Lord. And I can show you that. Okay, well, let me show you something as well here. This is how I changed his name to YV. There is no J, O, or W in the Hebrew language. So every time you see a single O in the Bible, that was just added. You can cross them out. There's no J's. There's no W's. So anybody saying any of these are all wrong. So we have two that are left. Now, I didn't use this type of thing. It just happened out that it started coming up under this guy's dictionary. And that's why I used just the two letters. Now let me go here and say, see here, this is what I was saying, is the Hebrew word, and it means Lord, or the title Lord. And then how over here, it's specifically meaning our Creator when it's capitalized here. They did use it 4 times here, but mainly it's to mean like a male who is providing for many people. Like I said, when they have a home, he's the Lord of the home type of thing. And I'm not going to have them as a king, but he's a chief of that area. Okay, I would have had a leader, but now that leader is now a chief because he's talking to those who sent them out from Gibeon or whatever. So Gibeon. And now these are a bunch of guys. These are leaders. But here, okay, now this guy becomes like a king, yes. But maybe I should use the word king here. I'm going to study that. I might change that because he is now commanding of people that would Okay, get rid of that. So I might be changing that back to king. I can go do that right now. And I just better do that later. Because he's down here calling to these people he sent word to, for us, to these guys here. Word of us to these guys here. And they were leaders, I would say, just not in, but in and around, but I couldn't put the word around. In and I. That's what I want said here. And I got to get some kind of marker here. That's what those verse numbers do for me later, too, when I'm going through. So, okay, I'm doing so many, I gotta. We gotta save this text. How come it's not? Okay. So hard to save something without it being right in front of you because you gotta put it someplace. Yes, and the leaders. These are the leaders. They came to battle with them. So, in other words, now we have a king. Let me see here. Bring up the land. See, Language is down here. Okay. Now, when they crossed here, which I believe this is where they crossed, like I said, Jericho's down here. When they came up, somewhere here is AI. Okay. A. Where they battled, someplace in here. Now, this river here, there's a highway that comes through. So when you hear the word highway, it's the traveling between the rivers that this would have been. And I've really tried to make sure that they didn't go up and down hills. So these brown lines are the highway. So somewhere around here is that city. And then they went down here. Now, I think Gibbon would have to be somewhere in here. Now, these cities are located later from other text, but I couldn't find a place for this because, as you see, I've got Nazareth located here, so this map is really advanced here. It's got a lot of stuff on it. But the object here is somewhere up in here is where this king had started to hear about this and sent somebody to go down and talk to these guys. Thinking maybe I've got these cities mixed up. Yes, no. That's what I've got here. Yes, okay. But, and there's still remnant of these cities. So that's why they are placed there, and we have a real good location for some item, but I don't know where this is at specifically. So I'm not going to put it on my map. I was just going to say who died from the hailstones. No. When you see a lot of the text that I'm getting rid of, Like I said, I showed you the reasons why, and let me put me back in here and pop that back up here. And this is going to be a city that I've kind of brought down a little bit easier for us to pronounce today. And here's the other city I was thinking of that they went and battled, but I didn't have a location for that one either. And then they went up to this city. Now that city is way up here, okay? So that you can see that they went and conquered the land. So because this is the last major city that they go through, so that's why I located it way up there at the top, because they stopped at Lebanon's area. And why they do that is because those were Shem's people. Canaan's people pushed them out. Canaan's was taken over, and they just moved up. That's why they went. David didn't wipe them out. That's why they accepted help from those people up there, because they were Shem's descendants in Lebanon. So, how many descendants from Noah are still living in Lebanon? See, they really aren't Arabs once you understand the text. Well, it becomes clear when you see the truthfulness of the text. He ruled over the promised land, as why they promised him. And then he assigned, he didn't give, but he assigned their inheritance. Now, through this, there's a lot here that I'm going to get rid of. And that's because I did go through it in our Creator's everlasting promises text, his hidden format. And that is how actually the land does get divided up. But you can see that there's a lot of stuff here that you really got to go to detail to get to what, in fact, you'll see that there's, in our Creator's hidden format, you will see text that I had to add because it just wasn't there anymore. But out of a lot of it that was there, we have these lands. This is how it was all divided up. This river here and that river there, and this, all this here of how these lands are divided are in that text that I just skipped over. Okay. So there will be a map here in this text. It's a lot. I can remember doing that, and I'm not going to go through here and then try to convince you of me trying to find a format when there's not going to be a format. And that was so unique about our Creator's formats, because they did appear in there enough for when you read it, you'll be shocked. That's the junk that it is. And these are towns, not cities of refuge. Now, this is very important to know that these refuge, because these are the first towns that were set up in the promised land that would be acting as a court for each of their areas. And when you look at the United States, how much we follow the Bible, you can see that each state has a Supreme Court. Okay, so this is kind of like from the Bible, how the states were set up here by our founding fathers. So, he is signed, yes, not designated, but assigned. And this is where I would try to show you the text from the computer program that just, I don't know what's going on with that. And here you have to understand that there's an avenger of blood. when someone killed them, the family, and if they didn't have family, the elders of that area would assign a blood avenger or avenger of that blood, the spilling of his death. So the thing here is um, it can't be a manslayer, but the manslayer into his hand. I needed to have the text saying, "You will not give him into the avenger's hands." Um, and then later you're going to see that they're supposed to allow him into that city and the avenger to sit in that city. And then they're going to have witnesses and judges and figure out what's going on. This congregation are just witnesses. Um, and they would be seeking the help from people from that area to do that. And then they'd be judged on how was his death, not until the death, but how was the death, and the one who was killed. And if it was by accident, the manslayer would return to their own land. There is no text saying what would happen after, but we know that the blood avenger or avenger of blood is there, and he would have killed them. Then, okay, so that is the death penalty for killing people. But the text doesn't have them dying. Now, what is so unique about this, understanding this refuge city, is when you look at the commandments, and there's 12 of them. Let me show you the 12. There's 12 commandments, and you'll notice the one that says, will not kill willingly. I had to add the word willingly because now he is supposed to atone, because our Creator is saying, even if it was an accident, it is a sin. But also, if it wasn't, they killed him. So if you killed somebody, you just still didn't get to live, okay? But it's this understanding of what's going on here, of why I had to add the word willingly in there. So, but that's going to cover the text too much. Now, how come? Oh, I took off. Took off the overlay. Yeah, you've seen a bunch of crap down here at the bottom of how I do my computer. Okay. That might be the first time I've done that. And it's because I'm new with all these little pop-ups up over here. So I'm turning things on and off that maybe I shouldn't be doing, and I did. Okay, and this is the rule for the traveler that goes through. He too could seek in that refuge city. It's not just a stranger. They didn't allow strangers to live on the land. Okay, plain and simple, that they did not allow other people on their land. They just got done killing them all. Okay, so it was their land. They took ownership of it, and nobody was to live among them. But the traveler, that highway that goes through, they still had to get to Egypt as a major trading route. So that would have been something that they would not have stopped. So it has to be the traveler that's passing through here. Could I put the bypasser? Whatever, the traveler. Anyways, it's the traveler that they have the right to go to this city as well. And this is just telling them again how they divided the land up, but not right, not good. Then Joshua is summoned, and you can see Gads are Gads, not Reubenites or Gabonites, Gabbits. Anyway, Gabonites. But the object is how come they didn't put that one on the end of this here on the end for Manasseh as well? So, anyways, when I'm looked at this verse, you will see that I don't have the leaders put here because it doesn't fit the format. So the thing here is you just have to know that they were the leaders from these groups or these tribes in half tribe. Again, east of the Jordan River. And why didn't they put the word east in the text? Because that only had a specific meaning to meditate towards the east, to have sex with a so-called female goddess. So it has to be beyond the river when anything else. But that's why I put the word east in. And now you're not being deceived or have to reason out which side of the river are they talking about. And they built this large, like the large altar. You have to know what altar they were building. So, and then I have the elders now coming together to figure out the argument between the people. And then when they heard the story, now here, look at this. I found a verse here, okay? And now all this text is going to be, and it picks up like it didn't even happen. That's, I mean, I don't plan these things, but when I see them like that, it's just so unique that you have done this for the time to come. And then this here, I got a verse missing, 3 verse. This 2 verse went with that verse up there. So I'm going to end up adding a verse because this verse does not fit in correctly. And when you start to read and over what's going on here, then this is, yes, now I'm putting my influence on the text because I'm really pretty much guessing at what's going on here. Okay. Stopping our priests. Now, anyways, and it's for the sin offering. It's not a burnt offering. It's a sin offering from not, it's not, it should be burning here. I guess I'll clean that up later. ING. Like that. Okay. And it's this altar that they're talking about as a witness that we know what's going on inside, because a lot of people are not to be inside the tent of meeting or the house for meeting with our Creator. You just don't come with inside the fenced area. But they would have said, hey, look, we know what that looks like because our descendants were there. And when they were taking down the house or the tent and moving it, that they would have all seen this because they were supposed to camp around that area. And to put this stuff up, you just don't do this overnight, one night. People would have seen what's going on, what the priests are carrying. I don't know which book that is in, but you will see in fact, it's kind of unique because when you understand that all the text is not perfect, this is what will happen. Let me see. Okay. I changed one word here in this verse. one word, and all these other words, bars, will be changed to arches. We now have what's over the tent, the roof for the tent for meeting with him. So when you see everybody's pictures today that they've got what they call the tabernacle or the tent, that there's no roof on it. Well, it rains. That would have sagged in and it would have broke the first time it rained. So, but you see this like extra siding going around, extra sides of the goat skins that are going over top. Well, now when you put this on, now you'll know that that goat skin roof covered exactly what it was supposed to cover. But here it is. Change that word, and now we have the tent for meeting and what it actually looked like. And then we also know that the roof on the house for meeting with our Creator was very, very much alike, although they had a lip around the edge, and then they put it on top of that. I'm getting to the end, and I'm already 41 minutes. I should have stopped here someplace here. Yeah, I'm going to leave it right here at 27 and pick it up. Now, the next video might not be that long.